So we've got war all over the place. Things are escalating. The economy, it's in the crapper. And you look up and you think, this is one of those deals they're talking about an eclipse or something. When the reality is that's probably the top of somebody's stack. That's the top of a prepper stack out there somewhere. The question is, son, what are they stacking here in 2023 toward the end of 2023, especially during a time of war, especially when the economy is bad? We are going to explore that very topic this morning. Welcome to Prepper Nation. I am John. Thank you very much for watching, for listening, for shooting a thumbs up, and for hitting subscribe here on the channel. That is truly appreciated. Also, Curtis S. Thank you very much for the mean bean this morning, sponsoring the coffee. Let's face it, folks. We are riding with Biden. Like it or not, and many of you don't, I sure don't, but we are riding with Biden. And that is the equivalent of a blind, naked mole rat driving a gasoline truck through mostly peaceful protests in Portland. I mean, it's going to end poorly. It's already going very, very poorly, I would argue. And still, preppers are stacking. Most have improved um, their situation over the past couple of years as food costs has doubled and the cost of pretty much everything else has doubled, right? Most preppers are in a better place than they were 2 years ago. Physically, who knows? Mentally, they may have taken a beat down or two, but they're still in the fight. But prepping wise, they're still in a great situation. But what are they stacking? That's what we're going to talk about this morning. Again, war all over the place. We've got a second carrier group um, heading toward the old Mediterranean. Show of force, saber rattling, but at any point in time, that can go very, very poorly. We've got North and South Korea, obviously. We've got the situation with Taiwan. Oh, yeah, we're still involved in a war between Russia and Ukraine. So, this is a top 50 items to be stacking right now. Not just a regular old top 50 item list, right? Because they're a dime a dozen. I've adjusted this again based on the fact that we are tied up in so many wars. We've got so many irons in the fire, meaning the United States of America, and what's out there right now and what's affordable even right now to prep. Did your favorite item make the list? Well, I don't know. Stay tuned and find out. Um, so I'm going to start, as lists always do, with 50. These are not really in a particular order until maybe you get to the top 10, okay? Number 50, pet food and water for pets. And I'll throw in pet medication as well. Pets are often forgotten about when it comes to prepping. I did not want to forget them. So again, I popped them in at number 50. It's the first thing that I listed. This is for obvious reasons. Pets are part of the family, right? Number 49, extra blankets. Wool if you can afford them. But again, being realistic, seeing where we're at in 2023 and the prices of everything, wool may not be as affordable as it once was, but extra blankets nonetheless. Number 48, tarps. Tarps are multi-use item. All right, get them. They're not expensive. Number 47, climate bags and or sleeping bags. You want to have one for every person in your home, and you want to have additional if you can afford to. Stack an additional two or three. The climate bags can get expensive if you're dropping way down in temperature. All right, so if you're getting down towards zero, for example, those are going to cost a lot more than a climate bag that's hovering around 32, 34 degrees. All right. Solar USB chargers checking in at 46. I just like them. You know, they don't take up a lot of space. They're fairly dependable depending on the brand. Be sure you check the reviews and things. I've not personally had great luck with the 4 Patriots brand, but who knows? Maybe I've gotten a couple of lemons. Maybe it's a really good brand. But the ability to we live in a digital age. Most people have smartphones and USB devices. The ability to charge those when there's no electricity is paramount. Number 45, men's and women's hygiene. And that is a broad stroke right there. We're talking about everything from razors, soap, deodorant, shampoo, toothpaste, women's products, on down the line. Make sure you have plenty of what you typically use. Stockpile. Number 44, ammo. Ammo. And yes, arrows too. Every time I mention ammo, there's at least one person that says, you know, I don't have access to a gun, or I'm not allowed to own a gun. As a crossbow, for example, is it a good item to have? Yes. If that's all you have, that's all you have. But stack arrows for it, and tips and things. 43, knives. The best you can afford, as many as you can get your hands on. You know, Not going to sit here and pitch particular brands. For an EDC, I don't like to go below 45 or $50. But hey, if $10 is what you got, $10 is what you've got. Number 42, paracord, as much as you can get and the best quality that you can afford. There is a major difference between really cheap paracord and the upper echelon stuff. But again, affordability in Joe's America is an issue. Number 41, ferrocerium rods. You can get the cheap ones on Amazon, 10 at a time. And they used to run, I haven't ordered them in a while. They used to run $8 and some change for 10 ferro rods. Are they the best quality? Of course not. They're they're the size of my pinky finger. They're very, very small, but they do work. Obviously, there are much better ferro rods out there. You just want to have a decent amount of ferro rods hanging around for obvious reasons. Number 40, lighters and matches. Same thing. Same thing. The ability to make fire. Okay. It's been important since we were cavemen and women, right? And some of us still are. Number 39, duct tape. It's up there with the tarps, multi-purpose, all day long. Anywhere for you can use this stuff for so much. Your socks are wearing out, the elastic's wearing out at the top. You can use it there. You can repair tents. You can do so much with duct tape. Okay. Um, 38, bolt cutters. I would have at least one pair of bolt cutters, if not more than one pair. 37, axe. You need to have an axe, not the body spray. Although, if you get into a situation where somebody, of the opposite sex is looking mighty fine and you happen to be single, okay, Axe body spray too, but it's kind of janky smelling, if I'm being honest with you. There's a reason the stuff is $6 a can and popular with teenagers because they don't know better. I'm talking hand axes here. You want to have several wooden handled if you can get them, although they are more expensive. Machetes is 36. Same thing. You want to have at least one really, really good go to quality machete, but you want to have one or two backup options. 35, a shovel. Many preppers have folding shovels, but you also want to have full size shovels. Again, wooden handled if you have them already or if you can afford them. They are going to cost you a little extra, but they're going to last longer. They're not cheaply made. Number 34, first aid kits within your budget. That's the best way I can put it. For some people, first aid, a really good first aid kit, they'll drop $300 or $400. And there's nothing wrong with that. But other people are on a very limited budget. So for them, a good first aid kit means $20. All right. Is it as good as a $400 kit? Of course not. There's a reason it's $400, son. But you should have them. And kits, I put that plural because you want more than one. Okay. Number 33, bandanas. Something else you want more than one of. Bandanas are extremely cheap. And again, everything from I twisted my ankle Two, I need to strain this water before I boil it. Number 32, gloves. And that one still stings a little bit, but I have plenty of them now. Thanks for asking. 31, wool beanies and toboggans. I have wool underlined here because, again, wool may not be in the realm of affordability for some at this point. They were very affordable 2 years ago when we were talking about wool beanies and toboggans. Maybe not now, but you want to have extra toboggans and beanies. I call them toboggans, and I catch a lot of flack for that in this area. Most people are like, "Where are you from, son?" We call them beanies here. I've always called them toboggans. I get that in certain areas of the world, toboggans are sleds, but to me, they're things that you put on your head with the sports team on there usually. Number 30, rain ponchos. They're not expensive. They start at $1 and move up depending on if they're reusable. Bringing me to number 29, contractor bags. You can actually make rain ponchos from those, among other things. 28, socks. Many, many socks. Wool if possible. They do not have to have fancy print on them. They do not have to be Calvin Klein socks. They do not have to have little red hot peppers that match and all this stuff printed on them. Socks. Anything that is going to keep your feet warm, keep your feet dry. 27, candles by the boatload. Excuse me. There's no excuse. Candles is on every list that I ever do. Because again, they're everywhere. They're cheap to prep. You don't need the grid. The grid goes down, you start lighting candles. It is what it is. 26, lanterns and oil. Some people prefer this over the candles. I mean, they're nice to have, but eventually the oil runs out and it's more expensive than candles. So I'm more of a candle guy. Number 25, propane. And that may be the most unaffordable item on this list. Propane is getting up there. It's around $10 for two of the small tanks, because they sell the combo tanks now in your stores. The blue rhinos and stuff have went up significantly if you don't already have your own tanks. Propane, though. Propane for grills, propane for, space heaters, buddy heaters, and things. 24, batteries. There are two crowds on this. One crowd is going to stack less, but they're going to get brand name batteries. The other crowd is going to scoop up as much of the cheap stuff as they possibly can. Just have batteries. Number 23, flashlights. Batteries for this, among other things. Okay. But I do prefer flashlights also to have, at the very least, a solar option. 22, paper books, paper books, paper manuals, and paper maps. These are important. All right. I think, at least. A lot of people are fans of throwing this stuff on USB hard drives. Maybe as a backup to the backup, sure. But I want to have this stuff in paper format. That's just how I think. Number 21, freezer bags. They're not very cheap right now for the good brand, like the Ziploc, but they're multi-purpose. You can do a whole lot with these things, okay? Um, sure, you can store food in them, but you can also store a lot of other things down in rucksacks and stuff. And that way it's not flying all over the place. Number 20, 5-gallon buckets with lids. This always leads to the argument of food grade. Do you really, really need food grade? And where I fall on this is, if you can get your hands on food grade and it doesn't cost 3 times as much, for sure you want food grade. But if not, look, man, over the counter 5-gallon buckets from your local China Mart with lids, better than no buckets at all. It's still going to help you with rain catchment, set up a emergency commode toilet. Number 19, rucksacks and book bags. Um, if you intend at any point in time to bug out and be out there for a while, you want the best quality rucksacks possible. Not only are they not going to rip and tear on you, but to my experience, some of the cheaper bags, I don't know, it's the weight displacement or something. It will give you a backache fast. They will rub spots in certain places. The better bags have more padding, and it's just displaced. in a much better way, makes stuff easier to carry, in my opinion. Number 18, emergency radios. You want your emergency radios to have NOAA, NOAA, a crank, and you want it to have a solar option. And I would also say, I would prefer there would be at least one or two USB outlets, meaning this thing has a charge. You can move this charge if need be to a phone or a USB item, or use the crank in order to charge via USB. Um, Number 17, unscented bleach, blue caps. All right, that's what you're looking for. Stay away from the floral, stay away from the lemon scents and all this. Number 16, water filtration. Water filtration, anything from small Sawyer minis all the way up to your Berkeys, your Alexa Pure. Um, yeah, Berkey's catching a bad rap right now, but it makes me wonder if it's the Berkey company that's in the wrong here, or if it's these regulatory agencies coming after ways to filter water. I don't know. Ours has yet to fail us. Number 15, precious metals. Yes, I stack them. Not at the top of the list, but I do stack them. I think that these are important more so for after a collapse, weeks after a collapse, not during the collapse itself. People will say, well, you can't eat precious metals. There are a lot of things that we stack that we can't eat. There are a lot of I can't eat candles. You know what I mean? But I think that precious metals, they have a use just like everything else. Number 14, instant coffee. And also put for everybody else in parentheses, tea and drink mixes, powder drink mixes, but instant coffee, son, instant coffee. Number 13, salt. Historically, this is a very, very important prep to have during a collapse or during very hard times. 12, I actually put this again, and I don't know why, tea. So there you go. Some people just prefer tea over everything else. Um, and believe it or not, the tea bags, they have other uses. These things will take away toothaches and things when you get right down to it. Not as good as going to a dentist, but I mean, they do have other practical uses. Number 11, honey. Oh, yeah. I love the taste of honey. I like to stack honey. Honey is fairly affordable and it lasts forever. Number 10, peanut butter. Y'all know where I stand on that. One of my favorite preps of all time, if not my favorite. Number 9, sugar. It's literally a song by, I think, Maroon 5, "Stack It." That's what it's a subliminal song. The song is called Sugar, but Maroon 5's telling you, son, stack sugar. It's important. Number 8, jerky and pemmican for obvious reasons. Make your own, buy it, whatever you wanna do, but jerky and pemmican. Number 7, hardtack. I can make hardtack, folks. It's not hard to make. Very few ingredients involved, okay? Some people will put honey in there as well. I don't. For me, it's just the flour, it's water, it's salt, and it's some time in the oven. Flip the pieces over after 30 minutes and go about your merry way. Number 6, spices and soy sauce. Number 5, cooking oils. Cooking oils are getting up there in price. They are hit and miss on the shelf right now, but again, Joe Biden. That's all you have to say, Joe Biden. We're riding with Biden. Number 4, canned food and sauces. Canned food, as much as you can get. Yes, even your trash meats. I'm throwing it out there. But your pasta sauces and things, spaghetti sauces, pizza sauces, your soups, anything canned to me is a good prep. Number 3, rolled oats. Number 2, dry pastas to go with those sauces, right? And number 1, water. Water. As much as you can get, put it under the bed, put it in the closet, make a mural out of it and put it in the living room. Whatever you got to do, water is paramount here. Notice that dried beans are missing from this list. Yes, they're an excellent prep. However, the preparation time on dried beans is terrible. Takes a lot of water. I would prefer just to, use canned beans. A lot easier, right? Still affordable. But y'all let me know. Is there anything on this list that's overrated? I feel like there's some precious metals hate coming, but don't hate on the precious metals, okay? What's overrated on this list, and what would you like to add to this list? Because 50 items on a list is by no means a complete comprehensive prepping list. This is just a great place to start, I think. And these are 50 things to continue to stay focused on. Again, nothing on this list really other than propane is super expensive right now to prep. And you can substitute the propane and you can put seasoned wood. Wood that's been cut, that's been drying for what is it, 6 months to a year. So it's going to burn all right. Um, and just some things to add before we close out. Consider Great Depression recipes, right? People had to figure out how to cook when food was astronomically high and there were shortages all over the place, and they figured it out. Those cookbooks and recipes are out there online, available, ready to go. Consider batch cooking, meaning you're just cooking up a bunch at one time and then you're eating on it for 2 or 3 days. This is a good idea to save money at any time. But if you're prepping and you've got the palate and you can stomach the same food for 2 or 3 days, batch cooking will allow you to prep even cheaper. Research common war shortages, which is probably something we'll talk about later this week. I'm still watching Israel and Gaza and Iran and now the two battle groups, the carrier strike groups, because we don't have any war shortages yet, other than maybe fuel, because again, Joe Biden. But if we run a danger of seeing them at any point in time, we'll have a deep discussion on that. Um, and what are some alternates? If you know some alternates for some of these things, uh, what are they? Drop that in the comments section. So anyway, hopefully there are a lot of comments that come in because this is going to help people that are watching the video after you and checking out the comments. And then we will go over everything on the rundown this afternoon. Y'all take care. God bless.